Hey guys, it's me, Johnny. I'm excited to be back finally. I spent a while in Puerto Rico and had some trouble getting back because my flight got canceled. But we're here, we're ready to go, we're ready to hit the grind again. Today we're looking at Home Free's MR. It's the third chapter of their Stargazer trilogy, and I looked at Give Me a Sign and Stargazer Lilies, the former two already. We're trying a bit of a different setup here because I just got an upright piano and I just got it tuned. So I am at the piano now. So we're trying to set up for video reactions. We're going to see if it works out at all. But yeah, anyway, I have a bunch of videos to catch up on, so let's get right to it. Alright, right before I hit it, I just want to say that I'll probably look specifically at the music for this arrangement because this is a three-part trilogy. I want to go back and maybe do a video in which I talk about the cinematography and the story between all three videos. But for now, for this video, this reaction video, I'm just going to look at the arrangement of the song probably. So that's what we're looking at. Let's hit it.
Picked her up for our fourth date. We laughed about our first. I was everything except for smooth, and I couldn't shake the nerves. We walked up to her doorstep, almost didn't lean on in. But I know that if I hadn't, I'd be wishing that I did. 'Cause I'd be Mr. Foolish if I let her pass on by.
Mr. No, okay, I just saw MR. It's Mr. is the title, I'm assuming. I was looking at the, I was thinking about the arrangement though, so let's look at it.
Picked her up for our fourth date. We laughed about our first.
Hear that dissonance in there? When we go down to that note, we keep sustaining the root. It's D flat. We're in D flat major, so that C that we play there adds that little bit of dissonance. Kind of interesting. And the backgrounds other than that are Tim and one or two maybe other voices trading off. So Tim's on that downbeat with the bass notes, and whoever is doing the offbeat, creating a nice little bouncing eighth note pattern.
Picked her up for our fourth date. We laughed about our first. I was everything except for smooth, and I couldn't shake the nerves. We walked up to her doorstep, almost didn't lean on in.
So, excuse me. One of our voices takes on that note, building up a little bit more in the background, so we get a little bit more pitch content, adding to the chord structure a little bit as we build and build.
Walked up to her doorstep, almost didn't lean on in. But I know that if I hadn't, I'd be wishing that I did. 'Cause I'd be Mr.
I'd be wishing that I... And let me listen to that.
I'd be wishing that I did.
I'd be wishing that I did. That line, the melody of that line purposely doesn't resolve because the lyrics don't resolve either. I'd be wishing that I did. You could say, I did. If you wanted it to resolve, you would land on a root or a note that sounds resolved. I'd be wishing that I did. Instead, we land on that minor note, that B flat. And the key of D flat is not part of the resolute chord, because we don't want to resolve it just yet. I was also listening to the chord structure building up to this part. I expected it to resolve more than it did.
Up to her doorstep, almost didn't lean on in. But I know that if...
Yeah, here, we start on the root chord and then we go to the dominant. I expected it to resolve after that because of that resolution we heard in the beginning. Instead, we go down to the minor chord.
If I hadn't, I'd be wishing that.
So then we go back up to the dominant, teasing a resolution, and then we go down to the minor again. So there's intentionality behind the fact that we're not resolving yet. I'm spending a while on this intro, but it's very rich in music theory.
And I did. 'Cause I'd be Mr. Foolish if I let her pass on by. Yeah, I'd be Mr. Senseless if she left before my eyes. Yeah, I'd be Mr. Lovesick, Mr. lost his only shot if I hadn't kissed her. And thank God I did, 'cause I could have missed her.
Now, it might resolve later. I could have missed her. Again, we're purposely not resolving that. We don't want that to be a resolute line. It's also could have, like, A, you missed her, so that's sad, and B, you could have missed her. Those two different aspects of that line make it so that you don't want to resolve it. So I think that's a nice way of writing that.
'Cause I could have missed her. They were calling with her dream job, 2 weeks to move back east. She said she'd understand it if I didn't wanna leave. It broke my heart as I watched her Camry drive away. She was only gone 10 minutes till I was on my way. 'Cause I'd be Mr. Foolish if I let her pass on by. Yeah, I'd be Mr. Senseless if she left before my eyes. Yeah, I'd be Mr. Lovesick, Mr. Lost his only shot if I hadn't gone with her. And thank God I did, 'cause I could have missed her. Oh, I could have missed her.
So we're maintaining the same chord pattern as before with the... It's kind of doing the same thing, and then we go back up. So I'm having a kind of tough time of playing through this on the piano. We're kind of doing this whole thing, and when we get to I could have missed her again, like we did at the end of the last verse, we don't really go anywhere specifically. We just kind of hang there, and we create a bit of a an interlude section in which everybody's kind of playing around with that line, I could have missed her, and none of it is landing on that resolution.
Yeah, I'd be Mr. Lovesick, Mr. Lost his only shot if I hadn't gone with her. And thank God I did, 'cause I could have missed her.
So Austin is hanging on that high F again, because again, it's not the resolute note. This would be the resolute note. But if you listen here, none of them in this entire interlude section are hanging on to that note. It's always on notes that are not resolute, because again, that's not a resolute line.
'Cause I could have missed her. Oh, I
could have missed her. Not the. It does resolve, but it's not a full resolution. Instead. So we do resolve. But then listen. Yeah, we're on. So we're on a 4 chord, not the root. As opposed to. So Austin does resolve the line. But the chord itself does not resolve again. We're hugging the idea of not resolving that line. I could have missed her. I didn't. But I could have, so we're not going to resolve, because a resolution would imply that something is complete.
Now we're waking up at midnight to sing her back to sleep. As I lay her down in the crib, I can't help but think what life would be without her. So I'll soak in every minute, 'cause I don't wanna picture my world if she ain't in it. Yeah, I'd be Mr. Foolish if I let her.
So I'm digging the idea, because abstract concepts, like the what ifs, are so good in music if you're not going to resolve them. And I kind of think like it takes an awareness of songwriting to be able to realize that, because he's just talking about like if I hadn't, and again it's still not resolving, because the abstract concepts, we don't want them to feel resolute, and I keep going back to that, but that's so important between this one and also I think it was Give Me a Sign was another one that I really noticed was playing with it. Also I did see the flowers, the stargazer lilies in a scene here.
So I'll soak in every minute, 'cause I don't wanna picture my world if she ain't in it.
The world if she ain't in it.
Yeah, I'd be Mr. Foolish if I let a day pass by. Yeah, I'd be Mr.
It's so beautiful. I mentioned it a couple of times, but the way we have the... And then we go to the dominant chord, but somebody stays on the tonic. So it creates that kind of pooling feeling. I just love that. It's so cool.
Senseless if it flashed before my eyes. Yeah, I'd be Mr. Regret if I'd been somewhere else instead of right here with her. So I'll breathe it in, 'cause I could've missed her.
So we're getting to some really important meat and potatoes in the story aspect of the trilogy. Because of the callbacks to Give Me a Sign and Stargazer Lilies, and it's kind of coming together here. Like I said, I do want to make a separate video to talk about the cinematography and the way the videos are coming together, so that is going to happen eventually after I catch up on my other music videos from other artists. But it's just so cool to see everything coming together, and this is the culmination, this is the impact of the climax of the final chapter of the trilogy. And it's so interesting that Stargazer Lilies was so much more triumphant in the chorus. We talked about that plagal cadence, which is God, I love you, hallelujah, hallelujah. So we have that kind of emphasis in Stargazer Lilies, talking about like it's such a triumph, like. And even that resolves because it's a definitive concept. So look at the definitive concept in Stargazer Lilies versus the abstract concept in Mr. Like what is versus what it could have been if I hadn't taken that step, if I hadn't kissed her that one night. So I really think it's coming together in a really cool way.
Regret if I'd been somewhere else instead of right here with her. So I'll breathe it in, 'cause I could've missed her. Oh, I could've missed her. I could've missed her. Oh, I could've missed her.
Okay, so we did resolve that last note because it is usually appropriate for music to resolve. I think we could have gotten away with that, but it works for what it is, especially since it's the end of the trilogy. And even the song as a whole, like I said, Stargazer Lilies, we had like a very triumphant, good feeling way of sending that one off. So this one is, again, a little bit more abstract of a concept. It's a little bit less what I would picture the finale of any kind of story being. But again, I think it's just like, so Give Me a Sign. I don't remember too much about it. I'm gonna have to refresh, but again, it's just an interesting contrast between all three chapters of the story. And like I said, I do want to go and make a separate video about that, so that will be coming soon. But for now, I really like this song. I think Austin is a very gifted songwriter, and you can tell he's really inspired. It's just so cool to see what love can produce in the heart of an artist. But yeah, you know what, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching my video. Be sure to go subscribe to Home Free. If you enjoy my reactions, you can like and subscribe here. I greatly appreciate it. But that's all I have for you, so have a wonderful day.